let's be honest, it didn't take you more than 20 minutes to get your homework done. So.
Well, actually, they made me stay up and redo it again because I didn't have it at home.
Oh, nice. I like your parents.
No.
They're doing a good job.
And they kept me up until 10:40 just trying to get all of my teachers' emails.
Nice.
I went on D49 Power School and clicked email. This teacher. Emails.
They didn't send me an email.
No, they just want the email.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, here we go. Quiet, please. Homework questions.
How do I turn it in? Is that a good question?
That is not a good question. Jaden, what's your question? Number what? Number 10. All right, I need everyone in your seats. Voices off because I cannot teach if you are loud like you are right now. Thank you. Number 10. All right, number 10 says the following: 862 times negative 57. Jaden, what's a positive times a negative? So the answer is negative. Now you just need to do the math. Okay. All right, any other questions? Yes.
24B.
Which one?
24B.
24B. Okay, I think every single person here probably discovered that for every question that had an A and B, both answers were
The same.
So the question is, why on 24B is the answer the same? If you look at the parentheses on 24B, in both cases, it is a positive. I'm sorry, in the first one, it's a positive times a positive. That's positive. Second one's a positive times a negative. That's a negative. And it turns out that 22 times 77, regardless of whether it's a positive or a negative, gets you a number. One will be positive and one will be negative. In fact, if you were smart and you thought it through, doesn't matter what two numbers they are. If two numbers are multiplied together, you get a number, yes?
Yeah.
Hold on. When two numbers are multiplied together, you get a number. You take those same two numbers and now you make one negative. Do you get a different number or do you get the same number, it's just negative? Same number, it's just negative. So you got a number, subtract it from itself, the answer is 0. Yes. Number 16. What is anything times 0?
0.
You're done.
Whoa, dude.
All right.
have to look at it.
No, it's negative.
Utter some slack. If you put -0, would I mark it wrong? I would not. However, technically, we wouldn't say that 0 is a negative, but you can always subtract 0. So you can if you'd like. I wouldn't mark it wrong, but technically 0 is neither positive or negative. But you can do 10 minus 0. And since we said that negative and minus we're going to use in the same way, then I guess you could put -0. Yes.
So it says like negative, so it says 0, sorry.
It is. Girls, I'm not sure why you're talking while I'm talking. All right, very quickly, here we go. 2 through 24 evens. Number 2 is 0. Number 4 is -162. Number
You should just ask.
Number 6 is -1,288. Number 8 is -1,292. Number 10, -49,134. Number 12, -11,984. Number 14, very big number, -243,410. Number 16, Macy said was 0. Number 18, -26,350. Number 20, both answers are -80. Number 22, both answers are -180. Number 24, both answers are 0. And that's it.
Wait,
Yes.
I was wrong on 20 and 18, but I don't get 22 on answer. I don't get how.
All right, quiet please so I can explain this. On number 22, you must do what's in parentheses first. So on number 22A, negative 12 times 3 would be negative 36. You got that?
But no.
Negative 36 times 5 would be negative 180. On B, 3 times 5 is 15, and it turns out that 15 times negative 12 is also negative 180. Yes.
Can I see number
Number.
All right.
Oh wait. What about number 24?
24, everything is 0. Everything is 0.
22.
A and B. All right.
Oops, why did
Keegan's
I-
coming around to grab your homework.
All right, never mind. I didn't.
Yay. So.
Oh, no, he knows what to do.
So.
He's going to do push-ups. Don't worry.
Why is he gonna do push-ups?
He's getting a
He's
pencil.
grabbing
All
a
right.
pencil.
Listen up, please. Here's your homework. 10 push-ups, Malachi.
Wait, wasn't it 25?
No.
Huh?
25, Gavin, shut
Unfortunately, I made a couple people do 25 and their arms fell off. And so
By accident. Here, can I get a pencil?
we had to call the ambulance. So I decided to make it 10 push-ups instead of 25.
I need a pencil too, Mr. Chartier.
If it turns into a daily occurrence, then maybe I will make it 25 for that individual.
I need a pencil.
All right.
Someone stole mine. I'll do 10 push-ups.
Back up here, please. Copy down your homework. Lily?
I have 3.
Yes.
Who's taking homework?
Keegan's coming around for homework.
I need to write down my homework.
Okay, as all that's happening, listen up, please. Everybody listening? So today we get the final rule for multiplication. On Monday, we'll do division. Today we get the final rule for multiplication. Today we'll also, for homework, they will combine some addition, subtraction, and multiplication. So they're trying to make sure you don't forget everything that we learned for addition and subtraction, positive, negative numbers, integers. But they also get you introduced to the last part of the multiplication riddle, which is what is a negative times a negative.
Positive.
Okay.
What? How are?
3 times negative 3 positive. Negative 5 times.
All right, everybody ready?
No. I'm writing it down.
Sit down, Malcolm. Thank you. All right, here we go. All right, so the section is entitled product. That means multiplication of several negatives. Okay, several means at least 2. We could potentially see it with 3 and 4 and 5. All right, last class we learned the rules for multiplying when one was positive, one was negative. When the signs are different, Lily, the answer is always,
Subtraction.
you said both.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When we are multiplying, when the signs are different, so it says rules for multiplying, not the same as addition, subtraction. But when you're multiplying with different signs, the answer is always,
Negative.
let Lily answer. The only way that I know if someone gets it is if they answer. Okay, now I don't know if she understands it or not. All right, for instance, a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive, regardless, is always negative. Always, always, always. Therefore, you multiply the two numbers, the answer is,
Negative 8.
okay, no, regardless, both of those, both turn into negative 8s. Okay, the rule for multiplying with different signs are you multiply the two numbers together, and since the signs are different, the answer is always negative. Elijah. All right, now we complete our final rule, but first I want you to write this rule down one more time. So we're going to put two things in box 1. The first one is just a reiteration of what we did yesterday. Write this down. Box 1. When you have different signs, that means a positive times a negative or a negative times a positive. There's one example. The answer is always, make sure that's in the top part of box number 1. That's our first rule. How do you do it? You multiply the two numbers together, you make a negative, you're done. Lily, move your pencil. Okay. That is your first rule. And that's all we covered yesterday. Now comes the second rule. Obviously, both signs could be, they could be negative. They could both be positive. Okay. So it turns out, this is the second part. Now I'll explain why this is true in the next slide. You're just going to write it down right here. When the signs are the same, that means when you are multiplying two positives or when you're multiplying two negatives, the answer is always, it's not, it's always positive. When you multiply a negative times a negative, the answer is positive. That is not the rule for addition. When you add two negatives, you get a negative. When you multiply two negatives, you get a positive. That causes, intellectually wise, problems. It doesn't make sense. What do you mean? You add two negatives, you get a negative? But when you multiply two negatives, you get a positive? Isn't multiplication just repeated addition? Shouldn't I get the same thing? And the answer is no, you don't. So on box number one, when you multiply different signs, the answer is always negative. When you multiply same signs, the answer is always positive. That requires some explanation because that doesn't make sense.
No,
Okay.
we'll just go with it.
Well, yeah, half the people will just be, oh, I'm okay with it. If you say it's right, I'll believe you. But there are definitely some people like that doesn't make sense. Multiplication is just repeated addition. If you're repeatedly adding negative numbers, the answer should be negative. It's not, it's positive. So let me explain the why here. Here is the why. This is the same slide I showed you yesterday. When you multiply two positive numbers together, back in third grade, they said, think of this as two groups of three. Well, that's two groups of positive. The answer is 6. Yesterday, I said the way that we think about this is two groups of negative 3. Well, then that's got to be negative 6. So a positive times a negative is a negative. The way I showed you why a negative times a positive is a negative, I said, well, multiplication is commutative. I can move these numbers around. So instead of thinking of this as negative 2 times 3, you could equally think of this as 3 times negative 2. Following the same pattern, that would be 3 groups of negative 2. Well, 3 groups of negative 2 is still. Now we come to the last one. Y is a negative times a negative. Okay, here's the actual explanation. Okay, this first sign right here clearly is a minus sign or a negative. There's actually a third interpretation of that minus sign. If I take any number, give me a positive number, any number.
22.
22, and I write the opposite of 22. What's the opposite of 22?
Negative 20.
I agree. So what does this really say? You just said the opposite of 22 is this thing right here. So what does this say?
The opposite of 2.
So the third way that we can interpret this is the opposite of 2. I'll say that again. Yeah, it's negative 2. Yeah, it's minus 2. But we can also say that it's the opposite of 2. So using that interpretation, this is the opposite of 2 groups of negative 3. Okay, closing. What does 2 groups of negative 3 look like?
Negative 6.
2 groups of negative 3 would look like this. Well, 2 groups of negative 3 is, and what would be the opposite of negative 6? And that's why negative times a negative is a positive. Some people, especially in 7th grade, will go, they won't ever admit it to themselves or to their friends or to the teacher. They will still, for a long time, have a problem with this. I don't mean like they write the wrong answer, but I'm just saying intellectually wrapping your head on why is a negative times a negative is a positive, for the explanation I just gave you. To actually do it, it's easy. 2 negatives turn into a positive. I think we kind of saw that with subtraction, right? So it's that same idea. All right, so now you have everything. Let me go back to that slide. Here are the 2 rules. When the signs are the same when you are multiplying. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say when you're adding or subtracting. I said when you're multiplying, when the signs are the same, the answer is always positive. When you're multiplying, notice what I didn't say, adding or subtracting. When you're multiplying with different signs, the answer is always negative. All right, that's it. Class dismissed. It's that easy, right? That's the rule for multiplication, not for addition, subtraction. Today we're going to do both eventually in the class. I will throw addition problems with multiplication. So you're going to have to keep all of those rules in your head. Let's do some easy ones first before we do that. Okay. Same or different signs. Are you multiplying, adding, or subtracting?
Multiply.
When you're multiplying, the signs are different. The answer is,
Negative.
so what's the answer?
Negative 12.
I can't make it harder. Okay, granted, I can make this 317. It doesn't make it harder, it just makes it more complex. Right? But the answer is the easiest thing. You know the answer is negative. When the two sides are the same, the answer is,
Positive.
so what's the answer?
Positive 16.
Questions. It is that simple. Don't confuse this rule with addition, subtraction. It's easy to do. When the signs are the same, the answer is always,
Negative. Positive.
see, some of you don't have this rule down. When the signs are the same and you are multiplying, the answer is always positive. So the answer is,
8.
okay, don't let her be the only one that answers the questions.
Please don't.
Okay. When the signs are different, the answer is always,
Negative.
so the answer here is,
Negative 4.
so what you need to do is you need to look at box number 1, if you don't have this now solidly in your head, and follow the rules in box number 1. When the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. Okay, that is it. It's no other rules. You now know all the rules. Okay, there are no more rules. That's it. Okay.
Homework's also.
No, there's homework gets the more some challenging ones. These are the easy ones. So go. 10-second head start. Box 2. Yeah.
What's the homework? I didn't get it down.
All right. Top left, the answer is,
20.
and saying positive 20, right, would sound correct. We just are lazy or we're efficient in math and we just leave off the plus. Elijah, turn around. Second one, the answer is negative 28. Macy, where are you going to get it from? I've forgotten to ask if it's safe to drink.
Yeah, it is.
How do we know this?
Because I drink.
I stuck my head.
Saying that you drank from it and you didn't die is not good enough for me.
Mr. Chartier, I drank my water bottle 4 times from that yesterday. I feel fine.
I'm not out of my, until I get the principal to tell me it's safe to drink, I'm not going to say go get some water.
Is our gonna be our testimony?
No.
If it isn't safe,
Macy, what is any number times 0?
0. Yes.
We just always leave off signs for 0. So the answer is 0.
There's no back.
Agreed? All right. Last one on the left column, the answer is? All right. Top to bottom, go.
Negative 66, 25, 18, and negative 48.
Questions?
No, this is easy.
Yes. All right. We will do some more complicated ones. Here are the more complicated ones. Why is this more complicated? All right. I'm going to go back to my classic and tried and true Malachi.
It's negative 24.
Malachi, when you have 3 numbers and you're multiplying, how do you do it? Left to right. He's got it now. We go left to right. So you take your magic hand thing or whatever, you cover up the last number. Malachi, same or different signs. So therefore the answer is negative what in this case? Negative 12. You write down negative 12, uncover what's underneath your hand, and write the other number. Malachi, same or different signs. So the answer is, Malachi's got it.
This is easy.
Macy.
She's trying to go get water.
Go ahead. All right. One more time. Kira, how many numbers we're multiplying? So when you have 3 or more numbers, how must you do multiplication? What? What word did you just use?
Twice.
Okay, agreed. But in what order must you multiply them? That's what I was looking for. Okay, let's go left to right. Same or different signs? So therefore the answer is? Okay. So I uncover what's underneath my hand and I write 12 times what's underneath my hand. Same or different signs? So therefore the answer is? She's got it. You got it?
Yeah.
All right. Last time. Lily, when you have 3 or more numbers, how much do you multiply them? Left or right? Same or different signs? So therefore the answer is? Okay. And I write 12 times whatever's underneath my hand, which is -2. Same or different signs? So therefore the answer is? Lily's got it. Box 3, go, get it done. And then we'll do the most challenging ones.
Oh yeah.
Most challenging one is super easy.
No.
No, I will say we'll start seeing people start making mistakes on the very challenging ones.
No.
No ways. Yeah.
People won't read it carefully. They won't see that you're adding or subtracting instead of multiplying, and they'll mess it up. Or they'll mess up the rules together.
I haven't seen any adding on this yet. On the homework.
Yeah, there is.
It's at the end.
Oh, it's not.
All right, here we go. Jasmine. 1 times -4? What?
4.
I did hear you. But why am I saying what? -4. Very good. Remember, different signs. Answer's always negative. Okay, so I write -4, and then I write times 2. -4 times 2 is? Very good. All right. Josh, middle one. Tell me what to do. What do you get when you multiply the first 2?
-8.
Because a negative times a negative is a negative, yes? Oh, positive. So that's 8 times 3, which is?
Like 27.
It's like?
No.
You got it. Just count by 8s 3 times.
Yeah.
Not 27. Count by 8 3 times. 8. 8 times 2?
24.
Thank you. All right. Last one, Noah, go. It's not, okay, I got you. Keep going. Okay, because a negative times a negative is a positive. He's got it. Anybody hiding out there? I don't get it. I hope he doesn't call on me. All right. The most complicated ones, and I'm going to slow down now. Like I said, remember when I started this chapter, I said, hey, it turns out the multiplication is easy. So is division. We'll do that on Monday. Multiplication division is easy. It's the adding, subtracting that's challenging. So now we're going to combine multiplication with adding, subtracting. Be very careful. Do you see it? Here's the problem. Macy, what are we going to do first? Malachi, you should be paying attention. Because it's inside the parentheses by PEMDAS, you do parentheses first. Does this say multiplication? Where do you see a multiplication symbol? Literally, what my finger is touching, does it say multiplication? Part of the problem involves multiplication, but you said do the parentheses first. So is there multiplication here? Where do you see multiplication?
Right over your
That's multiplication. So is there multiplication for what we need to do? No. What do we need to do?
Add 7.
Let her talk. What do we need to do?
7 plus negative.
So now we got to shift gears. It's not written on our paper. We got to go back to the rules for addition. And the rules for addition say you look at the two signs and you say same or different. I'm asking you, same or different. So what do you do when the signs are different? You see what I mean? So all of a sudden we start, we started with addition, we got to where everyone got it. We start subtraction, everybody gets it. We go to multiplication, everybody gets it. And then all of a sudden we throw everything together, and that's exactly what happens. The wheels fall off and we stop. I'm going to say it for the 26th time. On your papers for this chapter, you need to have the rules in front of your face. Hey, here are the rules for multiplication. They are not the same for addition, subtraction. The rule for addition says when the signs are different, you subtract the numbers. Subtract the numbers, Macy. 5. And then you ask yourself more positives or more negatives. So the answer is, but we still have this -3 outside. Is that add, subtract, multiply, or divide? That's times. Okay. Now we follow the rule for multiplication. I told you these are complicated. I'm waiting. What's the rule say? That's a lot to do for 7th graders, believe it or not. Like I said, this right here will cause a lot of problems in 7th grade. If all I ask you is just multiply 2 numbers together, everybody gets it. If all I ask you to do is add 2 numbers together, everybody gets it, or subtract. As soon as I throw everything together, because you got to bounce back and forth between the rules for addition, subtraction, and multiplication, let alone division, we have problems. So let's take our time and do these. Oh boy, look at all that mess right there. Okay, everybody see it? Malachi, what should we do first? Let's go left to right, but we got to do parentheses first. So inside the first set of parentheses, left to right, is a -3 times -2. That would give us a negative. That would give us a +6. Second set of parentheses.
7 times -2.
So what'd you get for the first one? What'd you get for the second one? And what goes in between? You see what he just did? That's what you got to do. Hey, does it say add, subtract, multiply, or divide? So what's the rule for adding? Well, there's only 2 numbers. We use the left or right if there's more than 2 numbers.
What do you mean?
So what's the rule for addition? See what I mean? 2 people, same responses. All of a sudden you get to where I don't know what I'm doing. On your papers, if you don't know what you're doing, you got to have all the rules written. The rule for addition plus, right, says same or different. Oh, by the way, look, it's literally the same words, but the 2 completely different rules. So on your paper, somehow you got to put a box or something, and you got to say, I don't know, multiplication rules. And then I need a box around this, and I need to put addition rules. What's the rule for same signs when you're adding? You add. What's the rule for different signs when you're adding? You subtract. You see what I mean? You were doing perfectly well 3 days ago when we were doing adding. Now all of a sudden you've forgotten it all. I'm not lying when I say for 7th graders, this is probably the hardest chapter in the book. It's not actually that hard, but it's hard for you got to digest all these rules and then apply them. Hey, are we adding or subtracting? I go to my adding rules and it says same or different. Do I have same or different signs? So what does it say to do for different? Subtract the numbers. More negatives, more positives. So therefore the answer is the 27th time I said this. I said I never have a student get it wrong if I talk them through it. And the way I talk you through it is these two boxes. I'm going to say, are you adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? You're going to tell me I'm multiplying. I'm going to say, okay, look at the multiplication rules. Same or different. And you say I'm adding. And I go to the adding rules. I don't tell you what to do. I simply ask questions. This is that dialogue, that script that you've got to talk yourself through. How many people are like, why is he making such a big deal about it? I had the answer 30 minutes ago. Notice everybody's hands not up in the air because some people are realizing, yeah, it is complicated. Okay? Having the rules written in front of you will save your butt. Let's do box 4 together. Let's do box 4 together. Here we go. Here we go. Lily, the one on the left. What do you think we need to do first? I do parentheses first. So inside the parentheses, are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? So I'm adding. Are we adding same or different signs? Do you remember the rule for adding same signs? Say again? That's the rule for multiplication. See what I mean? That's 3 people. Called on 3 people and all 3 have screwed it up. And by the way, those same 3 people 10 minutes ago when we were doing multiplication, nobody got anything wrong. And I said, you got it, you got it, you got it. Those same 3 people, they don't got it. They don't got it because they don't have the 2 separate rules clear in their heads. On your paper, you need 2 boxes now. Turns out you don't need another box for division. You need 2 boxes. One that says add and one that says multiply. For your box that says add, or the addition rules, you put the word same and different. For same signs, you add. For different signs, you subtract. By the way, it looks almost exactly like this. Maybe instead of putting that plus symbol, I better put the word add. And for the subtraction symbol, I might need to put the word subtract. You can leave this for that one. This is the multiplication rule, because this just simply tells you whether the answer is positive or negative. All right, back to Lily. Are we adding same or different signs? What's it say to do for same signs? Add the 2 numbers. We get -4. Okay? Now what are we doing? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. We go to this rule. Are we multiplying same or different signs? And it tells us the answer will be same signs. The answer will be. So maybe we need to put the word answer equals positive. Answer equals negative. So therefore, Lily, the answer is same signs. The answer will be. I've called on 3 people. 3 people got it wrong. Okay, here we go. Kira, this one right here. What do you want to do first? I like that one. Are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? Okay. Are we multiplying same or different signs? It says different signs. The answer is going to be. So what do you get right there? Okay. What's the next thing you want to do? Same or different? Okay. So therefore, the answer is add, subtract, multiply, divide. Why are you packed up with your stuff not in front of you? Get your stuff out. Sorry, Kira. Are we adding same or different? So we go to our addition rules. Okay. What does it say to do for same signs when you're adding? It literally says, add the 2 numbers.
21.
Try it again. Okay. And what were you adding? You were adding negative numbers, so the answer is That's the multiplication rule.
Oh.
That's not the addition rule. I called on 4 people now. Guess what happened all 4 times?
They
They
got
got wrong. Hey, not a single one of the 4 people got anything wrong 10 minutes ago. Now all of a sudden they're getting everything wrong. Hey, I'm not lying. This is challenging stuff. It's challenging because now we have to combine all the rules together. By the way, this is what higher level math is like every day. You got to have these rules. The silver lining here is, trust me, when I said, hey, who's got this 30 minutes ago? I had about 5 people raise their hand. Everyone will be that way, but it takes some time. For the next, I don't know, to the end of the chapter, we're going to be dealing with this every day. Add, subtract, multiply, and on Monday we get division. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide with positive and negative numbers. Okay, yes.
Well, wouldn't that be like positive 23 because they're the same signs? Negative
That's the rule for multiplication.
Oh,
It's not the rule for addition.
if
There's 5 people.
that's
right?
negative 23.
I'm not lying when I say that this is a humbling experience where you go from being a 7th grader, I know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, to where I don't know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. 7th graders, and the speech I gave you at the start of the chapter, I will have a couple of you, it won't be till Christmas of next year, to where you fully got this down. And that each time you do a problem, you're going to have to be walked through it. Hey, are we adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? Hey, positive or negative? Okay. Hey, 8th grade girls, how many people in the 8th grade class could not do this problem this year? Take a guess. That would get it wrong. How about how many people in your class right now at the start of the year would get this wrong? That's what's going to happen. All right. Have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Don't forget your homework. So remember what our ultimate goal is. Our ultimate goal is the ones that where you're doing like 6 operations, you probably want to do a little bit of work. But the ones that are just 2 numbers, oh, I agree. Well, why would you need work for your work, right?
20 minutes. I just had my hand like, hey.
I mean, sure, the numbers are big. Like only for like 3 of them, I had to like write down.
Right, I agree. The ones these right here, these are the ones you need to write down a step or 2.
I only did the ones with like big numbers, like.
Or big numbers, you got to do some scratch work. But that's kind of scratch work. That's not like I need to show in the intermediary steps.
Yeah, no, I just had it.
All right, e-learners, any questions? If you have any questions, send me a chat or email. Have a good weekend. I will see you guys on Monday.
Is there 2